Welcome back, everybody. It is Important Work. I'm your host, Chris Angel, and I'm here with my guest today, Mark Kaye. Hello, Mark.
Chris, hi. Hey, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, it's so great to meet you. You have a legitimate, authentic wood wall behind you.
I do. I installed it myself.
Green screen.
Yeah. One time I was doing an interview and one of the planks actually fell off, but don't worry. I got some liquid nails and some industrial strength drywall screws. We're good to go.
It's all good now. Well, listen, I learned about you, I would say maybe 2-3 years ago. I had a client, coaching client who I had been talking about having a show and getting content out in the world. And then this guy sends me you had this video and it must have, I don't know, a bazillion views, but it was about you need a show.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
You need a show. That's what it was called, right? You need a show.
Well, it was actually called "You're Not Gary Vaynerchuk," but the concept was that this was an ad I created, and I mean, and in this industry, a lot of people they say model, but basically they're copying each other. And Gary Vaynerchuk is probably one of the most modeled people in our industry. I mean, he's the ultimate in marketing and in entrepreneurship and social media. So I noticed a trend every time I went on Facebook. There was another person making a daily vlog with the word hustle in it, wearing a hoodie, cursing a lot, not shaving, screaming and yelling about, ambition and this and that. So I realized this is a trend that needs to probably stop. And I thought, why not? I'll just let everybody know you're not Gary Vaynerchuk. You're you. You can do what Gary Vaynerchuk does, but you've got to do it from your own point of view.
So good. Yeah.
Stop trying to be somebody else.
So good. I love it. And then you went on and in that video, just if you guys listening to this haven't seen it, you talk about Oprah has a show and you start naming people who have shows. And I think there's something about a show in partnership with Important Work that really, it captures something. Like, why are you such a fan of shows?
Well, I've been doing shows my whole life. For those of you that don't know my background, I'm a radio host and a TV host. I started in radio when I was 21 years old. And before that, I was a waiter, which is also like putting on a show. If you're a waiter and you want to eat, you better entertain the audience, is all I'm saying, or it's not gonna work. But I've been in the broadcasting industry for like 2 decades, and I've learned how to put together shows very quickly. I mean, radio is a fast-paced industry. It's live. You don't have a lot of time when you're beginning to talk. And so when social media hit, it was a real easy transformation for me. Right. I started on Snapchat and created the first ever talk show on Snapchat, which is really where I got some social media fame.
No way. That's cool.
Oh yeah, it was huge. It was called Talk and Snap. And that kind of put me on the map. And I was introduced to a lot of Viners and YouTubers and things.
Yeah.
And then, I realized after a while, every dime that I made and every great thing I had in my life, my house, my cars, my trips, my kids, everything was because of a show. It was because I knew how to take what was in my mind and use my mouth to get it out there in a way that was entertaining and informative and inspirational and enlightening and whatever. And that's basically where our industry is now headed. And luckily I've been honing my skills for 2 decades on the radio. So now that everybody's jumping into podcasting and live streaming and Instagram stories and IGTV, because every single day there's a new social media to jump on.
Right.
Now that they're doing that, I have, these skills and these tips and these tricks to help them get where they're going faster, which is to create a show, because that's really what you need to do.
I love it. I feel like a show is kind of the mothership, and from the show you can do a lot of things. Like you can push that show to a lot of different platforms, right? But it's the show that is the mothership. Where do you stand, or what's your perspective on all these the ever evolving machine of social media platforms? Like today it's Instagram TV, and tomorrow it might be something else. And like, how do we, the normal lay person that don't have 20 years in broadcasting, keep up with all of this iteration?
Yeah. It's a great question. And 2 of the most important things I've learned, first of all, is that it doesn't matter. The show is not the vehicle. For example, people say, I need a podcast. And I go, no, you don't need a podcast. You need a show. The podcast is the platform. If you order something from Amazon, you know all about that living in Washington. It's going to come on a UPS truck. Well, you don't care about the UPS truck. You care about the package that they're delivering to your door with your brand new electronic device or your brand new outfit or your brand new whatever CBD oil. I don't know what you're ordering from Amazon. It's none of my business. So you see the UPS truck and you get excited, not because of the truck, but because of the package. The package is the show. The UPS truck is the podcast. The UPS truck is IGTV. The UPS truck is YouTube or Facebook Live or anything at all. So stop thinking in terms of, I need to do a Facebook Live. You need to do a show.
Yeah.
The second thing is, the way to not get overwhelmed by it is when I first started on Snapchat, I was in the radio industry, and a lot of my younger listeners were telling me about Snapchat. And if you want to be cutting edge, you got to download Snapchat. So I did. And I sat there for about 10 minutes, had no idea what the hell it was. So I deleted it.
Yeah.
About 2 weeks later, I read an article in Time Magazine. There were these three dudes. They were in New York, and they were making $100,000 a week through deals on Snapchat, brand deals and marketing deals. So I immediately downloaded Snapchat again and said, I'm going to figure this out. Wow. And the thing about Snapchat or anything else is, you know, you can draw on Snapchat, and I tried that, but it didn't work. I'm a horrible artist. I just looked creepy and weird. You can do all sorts of, you know, bizarre things on Instagram, but really it's just another way for you to take what your natural talents are and get them out to the world. My natural talent is a talk show host. I'm a radio talk show host. I interview people. I make silly jokes, and I talk really fast. So when I started doing that on Snapchat, when I said, look, I'm not going to make the app change me. I'm going to change the app to suit my skill set and my needs and just use it to do a talk show. That's when I blew up on the platform. And that's really what you need to take with it. You already have skills and knowledge and know-how. This is just another way to get it out to people.
Right. That's a good, I was going to go ask that. I think you sort of foreshadowed that a little bit, but I think if I don't have 20 years in broadcasting, right, and I'm just kind of getting started, like how am I possibly going to have a show and have anything worthy to say, right, or worthwhile to say? Who's going to listen to me?
Well, look, just because I've been in broadcasting that's not where the worthwhile stuff to say comes from. You can have worthwhile stuff to say and never, ever, ever step foot in a radio station or a TV station. If you've got one of these, I mean, you can broadcast. What I do and what I try to urge people to do is say, hey, look, don't just because you can broadcast, though, doesn't necessarily mean you should. Make sure you know what you're saying. Make sure you know what your goal is. If you're trying to sell something, make sure you're talking to people who actually need to buy it and will benefit from it. There's a lot of different nuances. So, and that, you know, that's kind of what I've fallen into when the thing about Snapchat, and it was really exciting. At first, I built up this great show and I did these great brand deals and I had 100,000 viewers a week and I was interviewing all these celebrities. Then I started getting phone calls from, you know, people who were putting on conferences and individual organizations saying, hey, we're a bunch of old people. We don't understand Snapchat, but we know it's the next big thing. Can you come and talk to us about it? And so then that's when I started teaching it. And I would fly to Germany to talk to German radio broadcasters about Snapchat. I talked to Las Vegas to talk to a group of politicians who wanted to use Snapchat to help, you know, build their voter base and solicit donations and use their, you know, move their campaigns forward. I looked at them and I said, you're all politicians. You should probably stay the heck away from Snapchat. But they didn't. So that was kind of where the teaching comes from. And you know, just because you've never used something, you can jump on and be an expert. You can be well versed. You just need a couple of little tidbits, little tips and tricks, and you need to avoid the pitfalls and the pratfalls that so many people fall into when using new technology.
Absolutely. Years ago, I read Brendon Burchard's Millionaire Messenger. And just, you know, I love the idea that every one of you have a message. You have an important thing that life has taught you, right? We all have revelation and truth that life teaches us every day. And a show, I feel like, is such a great format to capture what it is you want to say to the world. And listen, maybe, and I mean, you tell me, Mark, but I feel like maybe out of the gates, nobody listens to your show. And that's okay, because part of the gift is you just iterating what it is that you want to say and practicing, getting the skills of saying something intelligent about what life has taught you. Do you feel like it in the beginning, it matters how many viewers you have, or?
It doesn't matter at all. Like you just said, once you start talking, you're gonna realize how much you know about stuff, and you're gonna surprise yourself. Once people do start watching, the best thing about shows these days and internet broadcasting, or social media broadcasting as I call it, the best thing is that it is instantly interactive. Right. People will tell you what they like, what they don't like, what they want more of. They'll ask you questions. People don't realize that putting on a show is not just you creating content, but it's a great way to find out what kind of content you need to create in the future. And, you know, I always talk to people in my group and people that I work with, they always say, what if I run out of ideas? And I go, then you do a show and say, what do you guys want me to talk about? What did you like? You know, what are you having trouble with? People someone will ask me a question. And as you can tell, I have a lot to say. And I'll do a 45-minute show on it. My podcast the other day, I was on Facebook, and one of my followers, a girl, she's a photographer, she said, I need to start doing live streams. You know, what should I talk about? And I immediately thought, what should you, so I did a whole 45-minute podcast on that one question. And if you get in there with your audience, if you live with them daily, in and out, it's going to be so easy and as soon as someone asks you a question, you have an answer. And if you don't have an answer, you're not an expert on that topic. You go find the answer. Brendon Burchard also says, you're an expert if you know just a little bit more than the person you're teaching. And that is exactly, you know a little bit more than so many people. Think about all the people you know that don't know anything. Just talk to them, and if they ask you a question, answer it. And that's all they want. Somebody wants an answer to their question. If you give them that, then you should have a show. If you can do that for them, you deserve, you owe it to that person to have a show so that they don't have to walk around wondering what the answer to that question is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's so good. I know you actually have a course, like you train people how to create a show. What do you call that program? What's that program called?
It's called The You Show. I started with a program called 1,000 Shows, where I set out to help 1,000 different entrepreneurs create 1,000 shows, and that filled up over about a year or so. Wow. And just to keep it real, I didn't want to keep throwing people into that program, so we evolved it and we took out some parts and we added some parts, and now it's called The You Show. And basically, if you have a business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you sell something for a living, you need a show, and it's really easy to do, and that's what we do. We help you create the You Show, whatever that may be.
Yeah, I love that. Is that kind of like from start to finish, like from conceptualization of the show to the tools you need for the show to the like, how do you start it and market it?
Yes, it's all that. And the best thing is we do it, a lot of people will sell you a course and then you buy the course and they disappear. I'm not like that. I like to interact live. Like you ask me a question, I give you an answer. We do live coaching in a private group. So what happens is people they'll get some videos, they can watch them. There's a lot of PDFs. I have a whole list of all the equipment in my studio. I give you a studio tour so you can see the bare basics that you'll need, or you can go, the whole kit and caboodle and see what the experts use. And then we go through, one of the things that people have the most trouble with is selling from their show. I think most of us, it's called show business for a reason. It's got to be a business. If you are not making money at it, you're going to lose interest very quickly. So I show you from day one how to use your show to generate sales and income. And that's very important, I think, in this day and age, because you need to stay motivated. And what better motivator than building your business at the same time? Yeah, so there's all of that. But then, we have someone can go in any time to the group and ask a question and I'll answer it or someone else will answer it. So it's ongoing motivation and inspiration. And you never know what you're going to stumble upon and need an answer to immediately. And a course doesn't always give you that. So that's why we've created this live element to it.
Do you listen to shows like this and think, I could totally do that? You have a longing to connect more genuinely with your community and have a platform where you can play a bigger game. But you never start because either the tech's overwhelming or you don't want more work on your plate, or maybe you're not exactly sure what you would say. Yet you have really important things to share. This is why we created a done-for-you content marketing service, helping you give life to the conversations in your head to grow your business and your impact. Learn more at mygroundswell.com.
How do you in that training process? There's organic and there's paid eyeballs, right? Where do you kind of guide people to an organic versus paid traffic to the show?
That's a good question. It depends on, number one, their budget. It depends on, what they want to do. We have one of my biggest success stories is a woman named Valerie V. And she had her very first show. She joined the program. She started her very first show. It was awkward looking. It was square. I don't even know how she got a square video with a big black border and you could hear her. It was kind of choppy. She didn't really have much to say. But then I remember just turning around one day and she published her 50th show and she sent it to me to look at. And she was a totally different person. She had an even cooler background than I did. And she had this studio microphone and she got her hair done. She had these really cool red glasses and she nailed it right out of the gate. So in just, I think 50 shows, it was 2 shows a week she did. So 25 weeks, she totally transformed. And her business is marketing for home healthcare workers, which is super niche down.
Very niche-y, yeah.
And she didn't advertise at all. But what happened was, because she was posting the show and because she was on Facebook and because she had a group, she was the only game in town. And of course, whenever she offered a service or a product or coaching, whatever, people jumped at it. And she's making thousands and thousands of dollars from her living room doing her show. So for her, organic is the way to go. For other people, I'm a big paid traffic person because, I don't have a lot of time to sit around in different Facebook groups and that kind of thing. So I'll create, for example, the Gary Vaynerchuk video or the You Need a Show video, something that I know is funny and quirky, and I'll target it and I'll throw a little bit of money at it. But, I also build in that viral element so I get a little bit of both. Some people just flat out want something that they can pay somebody to promote and get a result. So it all depends on your budget, your idea, and your goals. But we can guide you in all those different areas.
I feel like people, if you throw money at a clip, right, or a short vignette, how long was your Gary Vaynerchuk video? It was like 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
About 2 minutes. Yeah, just under 2 minutes, I think.
and you throw money at that, like I think people will come in to watch for entertainment, or they'll come in on the content, whatever the topic is. But if they like you, like this was my experience with you, I'm like, that guy's funny. Like I want to watch Mark Kaye more, right? If they come in because they're like, oh, what's this thing about a show and Gary Vaynerchuk? But they stay, or they come back for the relationship with you. And that's what I love about shows, because I feel like there's a relationship with the host. Right. Oh. And I think in a digital age where there's a lot of people trying to trick algorithms or chase algorithms, what people want as a consumer is a relationship. And that's what a show, I think, gives people is that relationship.
You hit the nail on the head. And I mean, the shows that you watch on Facebook, you know, the podcasts you listen to, they're no different than your favorite TV show. And my wife thinks she's best friends with every single Real Housewife in the history. Totally. I mean, people, you know, there's somebody on TV that you watch and you're like, you know, we would be best friends if we hung out. Or I know everything about that person's life. The same is true on Facebook. Awesome. And if you put yourself out there, someone will start thinking that about you, and they'll seek you out, and they'll trust you. And then when you say, hey, by the way, I wrote a book, it's $20 if you want to buy it, they'll buy the book from you because they're your best friend in the entire world. And that's exactly the point. You've got to consistently feed them something that they want and that you know they like. And now the flip side of that, which people also don't understand, is that you've got to repel people too. You're not trying to please everybody. And there's a lot of housewives who my wife would never be caught dead with because they are just repulsive to her. But you know, everybody's got fans. If your perfect client is this person over here, then you've got to repel that person over there. You talk to this person, you get them to be your best friend, and they can be, you know, your common enemy, which will bring you even closer to this person over here. So it's a twofold process, but definitely doable.
What is your I want to shift towards like your important work. When you think about Mark Kaye and what you're here on this planet for, like what things really move you? What's in your soul to do in this world?
Well, you know, I mean, I've always kind of been an entertainer. Entertainment is my first thing, and I can't help it. Like even when I'm supposed to be serious, I'm totally not. I'm the kid in meeting, because I have, like I said, I have a radio show. I have a full-time job. I work for a big company. We have meetings. People hate going to meetings with me because I'm the kid in the back of the class making jokes whenever the boss says something silly or you know, sexually, or that could be a euphemism or something. So that's me. I'm an entertainer, and I'm paid very well to do it. And so all my marketing, all my coursework, everything I write, my emails, they're all based in entertainment, because if people aren't entertained, I feel like you know, to me, they're not going to pay attention, and they're not going to grow as a result. Now, secondly, I've kind of become this teacher as well, and totally by accident, just because I've always done so much stuff and jumped into things early and been an early adopter and had so many experiences and made so many great connections with social media and speaking and show making and radio and Snapchat and Periscope and everything else that you know, I have a lot of knowledge. So people, like you said, they're drawn to me by the entertainment factor or the goofiness, and then they start asking me questions and they stick around for the information. So that's kind of my important work.
Yeah. If you, when you do get deep, I mean, because here's the thing, I get, you totally lead with the entertainer. I get that. Like that energy exudes from you. And I bet if you and I were sitting down and having drinks or cranberry juice around a campfire, right? You'd probably get deep. You could get deep. You seem like a deep dude. I mean, right? Like what do you get deep about?
You know what? It's so funny you should say that, because my wife and I argue all the time, because I get really passionate about other people's potential. And you know, when I look at them, and sometimes I get overpassionate. I'm like, you should be doing all of these great things. And I think I'm trying to be motivational, but sometimes I just scare people. But I really get passionate when I see people that underestimate themselves. They underestimate how entertaining they are. They underestimate how talented they are. They underestimate, you know, how much money they should be making. They underestimate who will buy their book or listen to them or see them on stage. And the marketing community is great, because you have a lot of people who don't underestimate themselves. They call them whatever you want, super confident, egomaniacal, whatever. But there's a lot of people, they're super confident. There's a lot of people that don't underestimate themselves, and that's a good crop of people to be in, especially if you're one of the people that doesn't quite understand your value in the world. But we see it, and I'll see people that start my program, and I go, you're amazing. I would sit and listen to you for hours, and they're like, what? Wait, what? That's so weird. But there's so much potential in everybody. And that's something that I really kind of get deep and passionate about. My wife recently started a business. She has a subscription box business for tween girls. And cool. It's amazing. It's grown so quickly, but she'll second guess something, or she'll, you know, talk about scaling. And we found warehouse space for her. and she gets nervous about it. I go, you can be the CEO of this. I mean, your job is to go out and market. Don't pack box. Don't do this. Let's build it up. And I feel like I see the vision of the person before they do. And that's kind of when I get deep.
Yeah, I love it. That's good.
I'm kind of annoying you.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, well, not for me. That's my stuff. Like if yours is entertainment, mine's like deep stuff. I love having meaningful conversations that really deal with stuff that matter to people and them feeling self-expressed and like known. And I don't know. I just got through reading Man's Search for Meaning this last summer.
Yeah.
Frankel. Mm-hmm. And just going through like how much we all want life to mean something. Like we really want what we do, the work we do, the shows we produce, the relationships we have to matter, to mean something. So I could go deep all day long. That's great.
That's awesome. Listen, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I was going to say even people don't even realize how much of an impact they have, especially when they start a show. We had, in my morning, I have 2 radio shows. One is more of a political talk show, but the one in the early morning is just a goofy, prank type joke show. And I have a co-host and we cut on each other all day. But one day we were, I was sitting there and I remember feeling just kind of like, what is the point to all of this? What am I doing with my life? What is this? It's a great job, but sometimes you feel this is why do I come in here every day and just make jokes? And we had a call from a guy who just randomly called the request line out of the blue. He said, "Hey, is this Mark Kaye?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "I just wanted to thank you." And I said, "For what?" And he said, "Well, today is my last day of chemotherapy." And I go, "Oh." And he said, "And I never would have gotten through it without your show." And I go, what? He goes, "I made my doctor schedule my treatments early enough so that I could sit with my iPad and stream your show online because it's the only thing that made me get through it." And I thought to myself, oh my God, what a horrible person I am complaining about this. I had no idea what an impact my silliness and stupidity was making on this guy's life, who's going through one of the worst experiences you can go through. Yeah. And he said, "I just want to say thank you." And he hung up the phone. And I was like, oh my God, I don't even realize how people are impacted by this stuff. And the same is true of anybody who does a vlog or a Facebook Live or a tweet or an email list or anything. As soon as you put yourself out there, somebody somehow you may never know is going to be better off because you did.
So good. That's so true. Yeah. You never know. And I think that's part of the trick is your job is to just listen for what is life teaching you and then to express. Whether it's entertainment or it's deep stuff or whatever it is, it's your job is to express what life has taught you and given you in terms of gifts and skills. And then let people find you, let people interact with that. Cause then you just never know. Like you didn't intentionally send that video to that or your radio show to that person. No. They found you. Do you know how he found you?
I mean, I'm sure he just spun through the dial. Who knows how that people,
who knows, right?
Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows how people find you?
Although you said you found me because somebody sent you a video clip. Right. And I get that a lot. That one ad is how I'm mostly known in the marketing industry now. It's like, oh, you're the Gary Vaynerchuk guy. And that's, and that's fine for me, but that's branding and I'm branded by that, but it's opened so many doors. And nowadays most people find me because somebody shared that clip.
Yeah. So good. I love that. Well, listen, Mark, this is super good. I could probably talk to you all day, but if people want to learn more about what you do, they want to learn about your program that teaches them how to produce a show, or they want to listen to because they just think you're so funny and magnetic. How do people connect with you?
Well, theyoushow.com I have a great video there. It's like a 17-minute free video. You can watch it and download it and learn some stuff. So the You Show, that's TheYouShow.com. You can also just go on Facebook. I mean, I'm on Facebook everywhere. Just type in Mark Kaye. I have like 92 pages. So nice. you can find one of them and you can DM me and I friend everybody and you can send me email. I'm very open and I spend way more time online talking to people than I probably should.
I love it. Well, listen, thanks for being on the show today. I really appreciate who you are in the world. Like clearly you're not just funny, but you're also, deep. You're a well thought through person. And I like that about you. So thanks for being on the show and take care.
Chris, thanks so much for having me. I enjoyed it. It was great.
Do you have important work in the world? We can help you produce a show just like this one and get your message out in the world. Go to mygroundswell.com to connect with us now.